We have to allow the gospel to really challenge us. It should challenge myself. Jesus says there's a rich man who dressed in purple and fine linen and feasts magnificently every day. So I should feel really challenged by the gospel. And Jesus wants to challenge us for our good. That's one of the reasons why the rich man doesn't have a name. It's because he presents this so that he's inviting everyone to identify with this rich man. Now, there's kind of two ways that we can allow ourselves to be challenged as the rich man, to see ourselves as this rich man. So there's this guy in his life called Lazarus. Now, Lazarus is one of those people he's a problem to avoid rather than a person to love. So Lazarus, we all have these people in our lives. We see them as problems to avoid rather than people to love. So we know in the Gospels that faith without works is dead. Okay, so James, he says in the 2nd chapter, if you see someone in need and you say, oh, take care, be well, all will be okay, and you don't help them in their need, he said, what good is that? Faith without works is dead. So for some of us, we actually need to give financially or materially to someone in need. That's a real expression of our faith. But also, faith without love is also dead in a way. In 1 Corinthians 13, that great hymn of love, St. Paul says, if I give away all my possessions to the poor, but do not have love, I am nothing. So there's this combination to express our faith. Sometimes we really need to give financially, but also it has to be an act of love. And that's where what's interesting is that Lazarus, he has a name. You know, for God, this person, he's not a problem to avoid. He's a person to love, and this person has a name. And often we're afraid to know someone's name because that opens our heart to love them, to see that they're broken, they have a story, they're in need. And so we're afraid to know their name. You can experience this when you walk downtown and see someone on the street. It's actually a good idea to ask for their name and remember their name. It all of a sudden changes them from just a problem to stay away from to a person to love. And so it's a challenge for us to think, okay, who might be a Lazarus in my life today? Who's someone that I avoid, a problem to avoid rather than a person to love? And allow our faith to be active, maybe to give them our time or to give financially, but also to know their name, to know their story. And that's a real act of love for us today. So this is the challenge for all of us, myself included, to think about who's that Lazarus in my life today, because God has placed that Lazarus in my life. They're not a problem to avoid, they're a person to love. So we can give of ourselves, our time, our finances, but also our heart to know their name, to know their story, to enter into a relationship with them.